This airframe really flew under the radar when it came out, but I think you're gonna love it when you see what it can do. Hey there, I'm John. This is Two Brothers RC, and this is the E-flite Super Decathlon RJ Gritter Edition. Now, I don't think you need me to tell you who RJ Gritter is. Search him up on YouTube. He's a fantastic aerobatic pilot, both in full and model scale.
I don't think RJ Gritter goes up and does pop tops, but who cares? It's a model airplane.
I asked Horizon Hobby to send over RJ's Decathlon to me, and they came through. The Super Decathlon is packed with scale details. For such a tiny airframe, it is exceptionally well built, too. So let's go in depth and see how it stacks up. For today's review, I'll be using metrics that apply to general aviation aircraft in the 1.1 to 1.7 meter wingspan classification. I'll be covering the following: landing gear, flight time, agility, fit and finish, and avionics and lighting. As per tradition with this channel, we're going to go ahead and start with the landing gear. The Super Decathlon's gear setup is basically everything that I could ask for from a foam airplane. Not only does it have soft wheels, they don't sound horrible, and they double as suspension for the plane since the full scale actually doesn't appear to have a suspension system attached to it.
Definitely bouncy. If you just let it fly, it's gonna bounce. You gotta either come in 3-point or really baby in those wheel landings. But unfortunately, it's very windy today. It's very difficult to control what the plane's gonna do. I bet we'd have more success on a calmer day. Okay, 3 points are no problem. Just gotta time the flare. It's my new band name, Time the Flare.
Time the flare.
The gear do hold up well to harder impacts, though I will caution that you should avoid using forward pressure on wheel landings. In fact, just skip wheel landings entirely. There's very little margin for error with them, and you risk a prop strike if you do them.
I think I hit the prop.
Always bring it in on a 3-point landing in a full stall. It won't prop strike, and it rarely bounces.
Ooh, took a chunk out of the propeller. We gotta get a new one of those.
Oops.
It's still flyable though, oddly enough. But yeah. Friends don't let friends prop strike. So don't fly it like this. That is still awesome to me. I love that we're finally getting planes like that have wheels like that. Like, you guys think that when people complain on a YouTube channel like mine that it doesn't matter. It actually does. Horizon is listening. You can tell. This is something I've asked for a long time. So Horizon, big props to you guys. Thanks so much for making that a reality. The plane doesn't sound like a trash can full of like aluminum cans going down the street. It sounds awesome. Like, you can barely hear it on the ground.
A 2200 Spectrum battery will give you over 7 minutes of flight, easily. More if you're less aggressive than I am. I fly planes to their limits because I think it's fun, but also because it gives you an idea of what the plane is capable of dealing with, not just in terms of aerobatic stress, but also in terms of how the power system holds up under load. In that regard, the Super Decathlon passes with 5 out of 5 in the flight time category.
8 minutes of flying. I don't know if you can see it well, it's because of the screen. 8 minutes of flying.
Please do not try this at home.
The Super Decathlon does basically everything that I tell it to do, agility-wise, short of rolling Harriers. You would need full span ailerons for that, so you crafty modder types could probably make it happen. While it is super agile, sometimes it does feel like it has a little bit of a mind of its own.
This bird's a lot of fun. I do like me a Super Decathlon for sure. I've flown other ones, and this one definitely doesn't feel much different, even though it's made out of foam. The guys at Horizon did a great job getting this one put together. Just a little bit of rudder coupling to watch out for. There we go. But it gets into a nice high beta knife edge. Look at that. I'm crossing the sticks pretty hard right now to keep it stable. That's cool though. I do like it when there's a challenge to when I'm flying the plane and it's not just doing everything I tell it to do. That's super cool.
I've got no issues flying it within the narrow runway corridor even in strong winds, so if it can be flown here, it can be flown at your local club field with no problems at all. I doubt anyone is going to be crashing this plane because it's hard to fly. It's fun and challenging without being a bear in the sky. The 4-cell compatible power system is ridiculously powerful, so much so that hovering it is not a problem. I didn't even bother trying to fly it on 3 cells. I know some people want to see that, but you can check out Adam from Model Aviator to see how it performs. Spoiler, it does great, but it's got less thrust than the 4-cell setup, as you would expect.
Jesus.
That was awesome. Once you get it to be nose up, it doesn't really care about the wind. But until that point, it absolutely does care about the wind. But other than that, it's quite happy in the wind as long as the nose is pointed up. Just got to be kind of careful with that. It's a fun plane to hover though. Very challenging as it reverse torque rolls on me. I wonder why it was doing that. The amount of aerobatics you can do with this little plane is so much fun. Very, very agile. I love the Gritter Mobile. This thing is so cool. I also like that it's got reverse thrust too. Had to be careful with the way I used it because I didn't want it to flip over.
You might have noticed the windsock earlier. This plane had no issues flying in 15 to 30 mile-an-hour gusts with strong turbulence and wind shear coming off of the trees.
You can see it being affected by wind, but the higher wing loading of the 4-cell pack, plus all of the awesome details in it to make it look like RJ Gritter's Decathlon, definitely help it penetrate the wind. It is not the lightest little airplane you're going to fly, but you know what? I tried flying a light plane today in this wind with no gyro, and it was hell. So I'm really appreciating the heavier wing loading of this plane and the fact that these gusts right now that I'm flying in are still controllable. Had to give it some rudder and a little bit of counter to get it to fly the way I want. I gotta think a lot, so it's hard to talk and fly at the same time.
It might just sound like I'm lavishing praise on this plane, and I am, to an extent, because it's just phenomenal fun for me to fly. When I really enjoy flying something, I grab it out of the sky if I can.
Yeah.
Onward to fit and finish, Horizon got almost everything right with this plane, except that the white parts of the fuselage belly are actually bare foam. It's kind of bizarre to me that they spent all that money to paint the wings and both stabilizers with white paint, but then they left the belly with unpainted foam. It looks great from a distance, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't pass the check here because it's not fully white paint. Otherwise, this is the best looking foam plane that I've ever seen. It even has a semi-gloss sheen, so it actually looks like an Airshow hero. All of the control surfaces are CA hinged, so they'll last a long time even with the kind of flying that I like to do. All of the decals adhere to the paint, undoubtedly because the semi-gloss coat forces them to stay put. Now, this isn't normally part of the fit and finish category, but I had to cover this.
This little wing clip is pretty sweet. You pop these off so that they don't damage the plane in transit, and then you use a thumb, pop it right off of there, pull the canopy off of the Super Decathlon, and then you slide it in here, and it stores safely out of the way. And it allows you to get the plane put together very easily. Now enjoy this speed up montage of me getting this thing on. And there you go. That's all there is to it. What I love so far about looking at this plane is that the battery hatch is completely lined in plastic. Now, obviously, that's not going to be the lightest thing in the world, but you don't have to worry about the common access points of this hatch, like the edges, getting all torn apart over time, which is what commonly happens with models like this. Same thing with the wings. There's plastic outlining this area here. There is a nice gloss coat over the entire airframe, too. You can kind of see it in the sunlight as I'm sure it's nice and glistening. Yeah, this is probably one of the best looking and feeling foam airplanes that I've ever held in my hands. And for the price, this is insanely nice. It's got lights and stuff too. It's beautiful. I can't believe how good this thing looks.
The Gritter Mobile passes all of my checks for avionics and lighting with metal servos, no ESC overheating problems, perfect lighting, and a motor mount that holds up to abuse should you have a mishap or two. It baffles me that some airplanes come with plastic servos but have bigger wingspans. I'm very happy to see responsive high-speed stock servos on a plane at this price point. Now, I know it's popular to dump on manufacturers like Horizon because reasons, but I think people should recognize and respect the innovations they're putting forth to not only make these planes easier to assemble, but also easier to fly, and less rattling to your ears on the ground. Overall, the Super Decathlon gets a 24 out of 25, an outstanding score for something that flies as well as this does and brings a ton of value to the hobby. If you think it's worth getting, pick one up from the affiliate link in the description. It helps us bring more airplanes like this to you so that we can go over what they're capable of and give you an unbiased look at them without unnecessary negativity.
I love this little son of a gun. It is so cool that you can walk out there and so confidently grab it out of the sky. I mean, not everybody's gonna be able to do this. Lord help me, it took me how many years to get to this point? But I like to tell people that if I can do this, you guys can do it too. And all it takes is practice and patience and maybe a willingness to, risk having this thing hit you in the face. Probably not a good idea.
Don't want that.
Yeah, don't do this at home or do it. I can't tell you what to do. All I can tell you is if you feel confident, grab it out of the sky because it is so cool. And it actually feels pretty neat in your hands too. There's a little bulb part right here where the windows kind of bulge out a little bit and it makes it very easy to grab. Or you can grab it here or there. Or you can hold it by the tail or whatever you want. But I mean, just everything about this plane is so good. The lights, the power system is just absurd. It's so controllable in a hover. I mean, obviously it doesn't have anything in the prop wash because there's no roll control. The ailerons aren't big enough. I love this thing and I think you guys should get one for yourselves too. Check it out, link in the description. It's not that expensive for a model airplane. I mean, as far as planes go, it's getting cold and hard to talk out here. My lips are freezing up and my hands are freezing too. As far as airplanes go, this is a very affordable one, and I mean, with the sheen and the quality they put in this thing, it's hard to tell that it's not balsa looking at it. It's very reflective, very cool looking. Obviously, I wish this was black or transparent, but for it to be able to do all the tumbling, all the other goofy stuff I was doing, I don't think you're gonna get that. So just to be aware of. But yeah, this thing comes John approved. I mean, squishy wheels, Horizon, thank you. I even bought a couple extra sets for these for other planes. I love squishy wheels. I don't want to have to constantly buy Dubro low bounce wheels. I think these are perfect. They sound great. They're like super squishy and they're lightweight too, which is even better.
Hop on Discord too and let us know what you think in person or drop a comment below. The channel is growing and it's getting harder to keep up with everyone who talks to us, but I never want you to feel like I don't care. I'm just a regular guy like you. The only difference is that I have a YouTube channel and people sometimes watch what I post. With that all being said, thanks so much for watching, and let me know if you think that a look back over the past 3 years would be interesting to celebrate the upcoming 100,000 subscriber milestone. See you guys next time.